evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to join us. The CDU political party says they do not want to be represented in the upper house of the parliament, and that the appointment of one of theirs as an alternate senator by head of state Paul Biya is simply unconstitutional. And also in this newscast, the Cameroonian transporter who was killed in the Central African Republic by some uniformed men in that part of the continent is expected in the country tomorrow, Saturday. Plus, the Cameroonian communication family is once again bereaved following the death of the radio animator Maurice Mpateko of the Swelaba FM 105 here in the economic capital Douala. This is the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. We begin right away in Bamenda, northwest region of the country, where strict measures are being put in place to ensure that taxi drivers in that part of Cameroon follow the norms governing their profession. Overloading is completely being restricted, and also they must possess badges. Staff leader Nabila tells us more in the following report.
I want to know why you people are doing this. Is that way enforcing for road?
There is no room for argument here. Taxi drivers in the northwest region, especially in Bamenda, must not be seen driving with bathing slippers anywhere in town. This driver has been intercepted and tries to explain that he has a wound.
I've just removed about two these bathing slippers from taxi drivers, which is not good. Taxi drivers, they don't supposed to wear bathing slippers and drive.
Drivers in the Mesam division should be clean on the steering wheel, and they should also possess their identification badges. The aim is to reduce insecurity and harassment which go on in many township taxis.
The insecurity in our town, the identification badges. There are some taxis that you find them hanging about more than three badges, so that taxis become suspicious.
Members of the Mesam Taxi Drivers Union, or the Air Force, are working in collaboration with security forces.
We work hand to hand with the police to see that we will have those type of taxis numbers. We hand them to the forces of law and order so that the law should take its course.
This move is expected to put some order and bring dishonest or recalcitrant taxi drivers to book.
And we talk the just ended senatorial elections after the upper house of parliament is complete following the appointment of the 30 remaining senators by head of state Paul Biya, after Kupit Adamu of the CDU political party, an appointed senator by head of state Paul Biya, has denied being a member of the upper house, or he has refused to be a member of the upper house of the parliament. His reaction follows Wednesday's presidential decree which saw him being nominated as an alternate senator. He was speaking in an extraordinary CDU bureau meeting which held yesterday in Yaoundé Central region of the country. His argument is that he was not consulted before his appointment. And meanwhile, the vice president of the CDU, Cyril Samba, has maintained that it is abnormal to have a senator from the CPDM to have an alternate from the CDU political party. He was speaking today in the economic capital Douala as our reporters went to the field to find out why they rejected the appointment of head of state Paul Biya. Jonathan Babla tells us more in the following report.
According to the Vice President of the Cameroon Democratic Union, CDU, Cyril Samba, the appointment of one of theirs, Kupit Adamu, by the President of the Republic as alternate senator came as an unpleasant surprise, so to speak. We reject this appointment, but we are not against appointments of senators because it is written in the Constitution. Given that we were not consulted, we could only reject the appointment. He goes further to say it's not normal to have a senator from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM, and his alternate from the CDU. We of the CDU are Republicans, and so we do not go against the law. But what we are saying is that we cannot have a senator of the CPDM and his alternate from the CDU. We have never seen that anywhere else.
Cela ne s'est jamais vu nulle part.
The CDU vice president also questions President Paul Biya's competence in the appointment of alternates of the 30 senators he is constitutionally authorized to appoint.
Nous savons que le président de la République
We know that the president of the republic appoints 30 senators, but about alternate, it is written nowhere. What is the role of alternate? So we think that something went wrong somewhere.
un dysfonctionnement.
On his part, Dr. Guy Parfait-Songi, political scientist, attributes the situation to organizational flaws.
Il n'est pas normal que quand on nomme quelqu'un et puis il refuse.
It is not normal that somebody is appointed and he rejects the appointment. It means that negotiations did not unfold well. This situation would have been avoided if all the persons appointed were consulted beforehand. So I think that at this level, there were organizational flaws that orchestrated this situation.
A contribué à ce qu'on se retrouve devant ce genre de choses.
However, Dr. Guy Parfait-Songi says it was not an easy task for President Paul Biya to compile the list of the 30 senators and their alternates, respecting all parameters.
Babla Jonathan ending the report. Now the 100 members making up the upper house of the parliament in Cameroon are by latest tomorrow Saturday expected in Yaoundé central region of the country. This would be within the context of their first ever ordinary session that is built for Tuesday the 14th of May 2013. The session would center on the validation of the mandates of senators and also the election of a new Senate Bureau. Meantime, the mortal remains of the Cameroonian transporter who was killed in the Central African Republic by uniformed men would be repatriated tomorrow afternoon. Elvis Baudelaire would be arriving at the Douala International Airport tomorrow Saturday. The decision was taken by authorities in the Central African Republic after truck drivers plying the Douala-Bangui highway went on strike, demanding the repatriation of the corpse of the deceased. And up to date, it remains unclear why the Cameroonian transporter was killed. Since we are talking about the death of the Cameroonian transporter who was killed in the Central African Republic, we add that the communication family in Cameroon is once again bereaved following the death of the renowned radio animator Moïse Bangteke, and he reportedly collapsed this afternoon while he was doing physical exercise. He died at the Douala General Hospital today, where doctors say he had a cardiac arrest. And Moïse Bangteke, it should be noted, was an animator with the Swalaba FM of 105 and he died at the age of 50. We now take you to the far north region of the country to talk about expatriates after the 7 French nationals were taken hostage in that part of Cameroon, who are now rare to find in public places. And Annabella tells us in the following report that they are simply being vigilant and that it is having an adverse impact on economic activities in that part of Cameroon. Her report.
It is now very difficult to spot whites around the far north region of Cameroon. Since the 7 French nationals were taken hostage, the area has been declared a red zone to some expatriates. The Wassa Park, which used to attract so many tourists, is now almost void of them. And also business persons who made a living out of selling their works of art are complaining that losses are enormous.
L'impact là, je ne peux même pas vous mesurer les dimensions parce qu'elle est énorme.
However, this man, Olivier Pouilly, says he is married to a Cameroonian and has no option but stay, though with some vigilance.
C'est-à-dire de faire un peu attention, de ne pas rouler à de la nuit comme on le faisait avant.
Si on est basé à Mawa, on reste à Mawa.
The whites don't drive around at night and are careful while visiting public places. Security is, however, tight or reinforced in the northern regions of the country, especially around the Wassa Park. The tourists think the government should do more to regain their confidence.
A brief note on sports football before we go. Elite 1 and 2 matches which had earlier been programmed to resume this weekend would not take place following a standoff between club presidents and the president of the Professional Football League in Cameroon. Trouble started when General Pierre Semenge suspended all Elite 1 and 2 matches on grounds that they were not limited liabilities and limited liability companies. Club presidents too issued a communique demanding his replacement. So far, the problem remains unsolved, and that does it for this segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. Thanks indeed, viewers, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. The appointment of the 30 senators to complete the upper house of parliament is still making headline news in Cameroon. We talked about in this newscast about the member or the CDU political party, which is rejecting their nomination by head of state Paul Biya on grounds that it was unconstitutional and that they were not informed or consulted before being appointed. Our guest tonight is a journalist, Mr. Tria Swebu. Good evening and thanks indeed for joining us tonight.
Evening, Mimi Mefo, and thank you for inviting me.
I'll begin by asking you about the rejection of the CDU political party to join the upper house of the parliament. Are you surprised?
It isn't any surprise, Mimi, because you know the Cameroon Democratic Union Party, the first, the Social Democratic Front in the West, as the list of the Cameroon People Democratic Movement were rejected. So they came out defeated with an absolute majority in favor of the Social Democratic Front. So it will be a simple mockery for the CDU accepting one of their members to take part in what is so-called the senatorials.
He was appointed is actually Kupit Adamu of the CDU political party that was appointed as an alternate senator under the Sultan of Bamoun, that is Bombo Joya, as who is somebody of the CPDM political party, and they are saying that it is actually unconstitutional. What does it mean by being unconstitutional?
Unconstitutional, indeed, Mimi, like you just said, because one cannot understand the fact that Mr. Kupit belongs to the Cameroon Democratic Union, CDU, and he was the person carrying the list of the CDU in the Western region, and so surprisingly, they were defeated, and the party in place happens to call him to be an alternate member of the Senate of the Cameroon People Democratic Movement, which is unconstitutional because he does not belong to the CPDM. He's not a member of the CPDM, and we know what happens in the West. Not only it being unconstitutional, like I told you when I started here, I told you it will be a shame for the CDU party to accept such an issue to happen.
But is that any problem if a substantive senator has a different alternate from a different political party?
We should hear, if that should happen, we should be talking about an alliance between the CDU and the CPDM, but no alliance has taken place, so I don't see any reason why they should go in for that.
That's actually your own point of view. And also, let's talk about the fact that they are maintaining that they were not consulted. How does it match with not being consulted and being unconstitutional?
Unless we want to think that it is a mistake that is being done, no explanation has come from the party, the ruling party. As at now, we cannot say that it was something mistakenly read. The CDU people are as well complaining that they were not consulted. It is true. They cannot say that they were not consulted.
But must they be consulted?
They must be consulted, of course, because like you heard the leader of the Social Democratic Front emphasizing last week, he said he was going to meet the President of the Republic for him to appoint some members of his party, meaning some consultation were to take place. You cannot just get up one morning and make me or Mr. Tria a senator without consulting, seeking his or her point of view.
Before we come now to what happens after the reaction of the CDU political party, I wish to find out about the issue of not being consulted and being an alternate senator. How do you look at it? Is it the problem because they were not consulted, or the problem is because he was appointed just an alternate senator, if I may ask?
I don't even see the problem there. I don't see the problem that way. I believe that, like I said, the CDU failed to grab a seat in the West region. Their list were eliminated in other regions.
Adamu himself of the CDU was
Exactly.
actually heading the list.
Exactly. He was the head of the list of the CDU political party, and all Cameroonians, they know what happens in the West. So I don't think that, like I said, I don't think that the CDU can accept such issue to happen, because if they happen to accept that, I don't even know what they are going to do there, as I don't even know as well what the members of the Social Democratic Front are going to do into the upper house of the assembly.
So to you, to calm down the political party, the CDU party was supposed to be nominated as a substantive and not an alternate senator.
Being a substantive
would it have solved the problem?
Alternate or substantive, it wouldn't be any problem, because, like I said, you know what happens in the West. The CDU, what happened between them and the ruling party in place, and the Social Democratic Front came out favored with an absolute majority in the Western region. They reduced the CDU political party to dust. So it will be a shame. Accepting, like Mr. Frundi refused nomination from the head of state, that will be the same thing from the part of Adamu Ndamjoya.
So that is actually what Mr. Trio you think.
What I think, yeah.
Just to find out from you, what's the role of an alternate senator?
That is, an alternate senator is somebody that replaces the alternate senator in case of any in case of any absence. In case of any absence or vacancy or whatsoever situation that may arise, the alternate senator stands and defends the right of the region, that the person is representing.
What are his advantages?
I may not talk about advantages here, because the sole advantage that the Senate of Cameroon will have will be in the hands of the President of the Senate, because you know that our senators in Cameroon, the way the situation is being arranged, the senators in Cameroon, they have no power. They cannot impeach the President of the Republic. All they have to do, they can modify or amend the laws that are being made at the level of the assembly.
The laws are making it clear that the President of the Senate takes.
That is why I said he's the sole person that enjoys the advantage at the level of the Senate, of the upper house. As for the rest of them, I don't know what they are going to do there, like I said, because you know, Cameroonian has been waiting for senators since 17 years. It's a law that was passed in 1996, and it is only today that President Biya has given chance to that. And as you can see, the upper house of assembly has become a house of high government officials. It has become the house of business tycoon. It has become the house of traditional chiefs and other people that loyally served the regime. So, and 70% of the 30 appointed senates that you saw yesterday belongs to the ruling party. So I believe if there is going to be a true debate in the
What do you mean by this? Because some political analysts are talking about a tripartite upper house of the parliament. We see the ruling CPDM, we see opposition members of the opposition, as well as the neutral members of parliament. And now, how do you also look at this?
I don't see it that way. Sorry for saying that, because we know what happened in 1996 when the opposition parties, the Social Democratic Front, had an absolute majority during the legislative and municipal elections. So the party in place, the ruling party, was obliged to go into an alliance between the UPC and MDR. So as at now, you know, the ruling party is having 53 seats in the National Assembly. And actually, at the upper house, the ruling party as well, is having up to about 56. I don't know if 70% of the party belongs to the ruling party, of the Senate belongs to the ruling party. So which type of debate, true debate, do you think
So you mean that it's not going to be unanimous decisions?
It isn't unanimous, like you said. I told you the upper house has become the house of high government officials. Like I told you, business magnates, traditional chiefs, and people that has truly loyally served the regime.
Okay, just to find out from you, Mr. Tria, what happens, we come back to the rejection of the CDU political party, the appointment into the upper house of the parliament. What happens now after they have rejected? What happens after they have been appointed and they reject?
If they are rejecting, it means the person will not go. He will resign. He wouldn't be member of the Senate. And the President of the Republic will be obliged to bring somebody else to replace him. You are not obliged to be a senator.
So another decree will be signed?
Yeah, of course, he was appointed and he wasn't elected. So why should we face any problem at that point? There is no problem. If they refuse, they have refused, and the President will sign a different decree appointing a different person to replace him, and that is all.
Now, in less than 5 days, I should say on May 14th, the first ever senatorial session will be holding in the central region of the country. What are some of the stakes of this gathering that is built for Tuesday next week?
I told you nothing will come out from there rather than to set a plan where taxpayers will face a lot of difficulties, because when we talk about senatorials, we talk about billions. About 400 billions are being kept aside for a 5 years mandate. And you know, as at now, they don't have a site. They are going to host the first ever Senate in, I don't know in which hotel, Montfebe or whatsoever. And you know the number of millions that Cameroonians will pay. So they won't come out with any result. Rather than planning how to get money from taxpayers, as it has been the case in the past years.
But they are planning to start electing the new bureau of the Senate.
Electing the new bureau or not,
electing the
new bureau or not, I said politically it's going to change a lot of things, but economically Cameroonians are going to suffer, because we know the crisis we are in, the financial crisis we are in. If we are to allow the Senate to take place and with the present situation in the country. So I keep on questioning if Cameroon is not playing a kind of political myopia vis-a-vis their people.
Thanks indeed, Mr. Tria Soebu, for joining us tonight on Talking Point.
Thank you very much.
We hope to have you some other time again.
Thank you very much.
And to you viewers, Mr. Tria, a journalist, was here to talk about the rejection of the CDU political party to join the upper house of parliament after the appointment by head of state Paul Biya. And that does it for this edition of the news on Equinox Television. We thank you so much for your keen attention. Join me next week, same time. Meantime, have a wonderful stay in the company of our programs. Good evening.